Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Modern Woodcarver podcast. I'm your host, Michael. Today's guest is the one and only Blake Lunsford. If you've spent any time in the woodcarving community, you've definitely come across his work. Not only is he a talented woodcarver, but he's also someone who's done a tremendous amount for the woodcarving community over the years. Through the International Association of Woodcarvers, Blake has created a space that brings carvers together from all over the world. His weekly meetings feature talented woodcarvers offering demonstrations, sharing tips and techniques, and creating really great conversations around the craft. It's something that's helped a lot of people learn, connect, and grow. In this episode, we talk about Blake's journey, his approach to carving, what it's been like building the International Association of Woodcarvers, and what it really takes to improve and find your place in this craft. Blake, I really appreciate you coming on. I'm glad to have you here.
Thanks, Michael. I appreciate the introduction there. It's definitely an honor anytime I get asked to come on and talk on somebody else's show. I know I spend a lot of time behind the camera and the microphone, but usually I'm interviewing other people, so it's nice to come in and be on the flip side of that and get to tell a little bit about my journey and kind of what I've done. So thanks for having me on, and I'm excited about what you're doing with this podcast. We had you on our meeting just a couple of weeks ago when I was up in Pennsylvania, and anytime we can share wood carving and get it out there in front of people, it's a good thing. My approach has always been to share wood carving so that maybe somebody will stumble upon it and be interested and want to pick it up and get started. And anytime that something new comes along, we need to try to encourage people to go out and join that to help build the community. So I appreciate what you're doing.
Oh, and I appreciate everything you've done for me and wood carving in general. You're an unsung legend in the world of wood carving. Your meetings and everything you've done is amazing. It's a tremendous resource for everyone. I've used it for years as well as many other people I've spoken to. Um, Everyone loves the show, and yeah, what you're doing is great, and
Well,
it's
it's
not easy
yeah,
what you
it,
do.
it's
So
it's definitely a labor of love. Like we were talking before the meeting started a few minutes ago. Um, you spend all this time preparing, making sure that you've got schedules lined up, making sure you have people available that want to present. You got to meet with them and make sure they don't have technology problems or internet issues, lighting, those kind of things. And finally, you come to the day of presenting, and you hope that all of it kind of pulls together. And so it's a labor of love because you definitely don't do it for the money. You
yeah,
do it for the love of carving and sharing carving. And yeah, I appreciate what you say about that. We've been going strong for about 6 years now with the International Association of Woodcarvers. And it's definitely been a good thing. And it always encourages me whenever I go to a show and somebody comes up and says, "Hey, I appreciate what you're doing. Look forward to it every week." If it wasn't for your meetings, there's things that I wouldn't know today, and that just helps me continue on. So it's been a good thing.
yeah. I mean, it's like you said, it's definitely not easy, and I appreciate all the work that you put into it. It must be a lot to manage every week. And like you mentioned before, I hopped on the episode where you were in Lancaster, Pennsylvania for the trade show. That must have been incredibly difficult to juggle because you were at a show, you had a booth set up, you were, I think, were you presenting something or you were a judge?
Yeah. So in
Yeah.
Lancaster, I was fortunate enough to be asked to come up and judge. This was the second year that I've been there, so I was up there last year and kind of knew what to expect. But yeah, we arrived on Friday and set up our booth. It's more like a selling show, I would say, than a competition. They've got I don't know how many vendors they have. I think they said they had 13 more tables this year than they had last year. But everybody who has a table has the option of selling their things. So all these carvings that you see behind me here, I took up there and made available. And if people wanted to buy them, that was great. So we set up on Friday afternoon. You have to be at the show at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning to prepare for the judging. So we judged. I say we. There was other judges, but we judged the competition, which took I don't know, 2, 3 hours. Then Saturday afternoon, I did the live broadcast from there. So went around the show, showed everybody kind of what was going on at the show. That's more to help advertise that show so that they can bring people in that maybe don't come there. That's part of our goal in the International Association of Woodcarvers is also let people know what's available in the community, whether it's a show, a club, um, classes that are coming up, wood carving academy, whatever it may be. We try to promote all that stuff. So we do that through our live streams, like we did there on Saturday, and then Sunday I had to do a live demonstration. So it was a full weekend for sure, and then drive 7 hours to come back home on Sunday night. So
Oof. Yeah, that's
it's
rough.
a lot. Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's fun.
that was great that you walked around and you showed every booth, every table. There was lots of things that I picked up that I didn't even know about. There was some vendors there. They were selling scroll saws and knives and all types of cool things, band saws and stuff. So it was really interesting to see. Plus all the amazing talented carvers that were there. There was some great stuff. Some I recognized, some I never knew about. Um, so it was really cool to learn more about some of these carvers and what they do and their styles. And there was some soap carvers and golf ball carvers and a couple other random things that I didn't expect to see.
Yeah,
So
it's
it was cool.
that's a good show because I'm a member of the Caricature Carvers of America as well. And there's 25 total members at any given time in the United States. And for that show, we usually have somewhere between 6 and 8 of the members that come to that show. And so it's not like one of our competitions where everybody's there. But it's nice for me to catch up with those guys and kind of see what they're doing and talk about what they're doing. And it just tells you the level of support that that show has. These are some of the best carvers in the United States, maybe some of the best in the world. And they're all converging on this one show to not only show what they're doing, but also support the other people that are there. So it's a great opportunity to go out and see some of the best work out there that there is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. I've heard about that show for many years now. I think it's like the mecca of, wood carving shows. I know the
Yeah,
Charlotte one is also pretty big.
yeah, yeah. The Lancaster show, I think, is probably a little bigger than Charlotte show, but again, it's different because Lancaster, like I said, it's more a vendor show. They've got a lot of people there that's selling things. If you go to the Charlotte show, it's more like a competition. And
Okay.
I did a meeting with Rod Gatlin just a few weeks ago that we talked about the Charlotte show. And the difference there is you may have, I don't know, 40 tables full of carvings that are in the competition.
Mm.
And so people go there more to compete than they do just to sell their things. And so it's kind of a completely different thing. And that's the thing about these shows and stuff is you can travel around the whole United States and go to a show and it not be like any other show in the United States. There's so many different ideas and ways to approach a show or approach a competition. And it's nice to travel around and see the different things that other groups do. So
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, it makes it unique and interesting. I
yeah.
like that.
And the Charlotte show's coming up in a few weeks, so I'll be going down for that one to, and I probably shouldn't say it, but I'm going to. I'll be judging at that one as well. And it's Saturday and Sunday, and the same thing. It's just wide open the 2 days. They've got some great vendors there as far as tools and supplies and things, and some great carvers, just like Jonathan Creason that you had on this past week. He's down there. We'll have several of the CCA guys like Kevin Applegate, Dwayne Gosnell, Mitch Cartledge, myself, Jeff Bailey, Pat Coffee. We'll all be down there, and so that's kind of fun for people that's coming to the show that maybe hasn't met those guys. And it's just a great time. But again, it's like a family reunion. So I've been going to that show for 20 years since my daughter was born, and every year we see the same people. So it's like these people get back together every year.
That's really
Um,
cool.
yeah, and it's I've made some great friends down there, and we just look forward to spending time with each other and getting together when we get the opportunity. So yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Yeah, that sounds so cool to just be able to become friends with all these people over the years. And I've had that experience as well with a few carvers, with Cody, and Tom is now a pretty good friend, and several others that I've interviewed and talked to and stuff. So it's really nice, and it would be cool to one day meet a lot of these people in person, just to kind of talk shop and hang out.
Well,
So
and
one of these days, I'll get down to one of those shows.
yeah, I was gonna say it's a bucket list thing. So, when we
Yeah,
bring these shows up and stuff and we talk about them, not everybody has the ability to travel around and go to different things, but you can definitely put it on your list and be like, okay, one day I'm going up to Wisconsin. I'm going to go to the CCA competition. I'm going to see what that's all about. Or I'm going to go out to Utah to the roundup that they have out there and participate in classes for 5 days. It's a good opportunity, one, to learn, advance your skills, meet new people, make new friends. And again, like I talked to you about before, the carving community is really the best community out there, and I'll say that publicly. I've never had any kind of negative comments from any other carver. People are willing to share, people are willing to help, and it's just a great community. So that's the reason I don't. I mean that I do it. I don't do it for the money. I don't do it for the notoriety or the none of that. It's more about sharing the art, getting involved with people, meeting people, and just feeling like you've got an external family out there.
yeah, yeah. I would agree with that 100%. And I've mentioned this before in some other episodes, but it's one of the main reasons why I decided to do this podcast is because the carving as a hobby itself is very solitary and lonely. You know, you're sitting in your chair or your bench and you're hunched over, you're quiet, there's no one around. And if you're in an area like I am where there is no carvers around, it's just
Right.
not a thing where I am. Maybe there is, but they're far and few between. And
Sure.
so you don't really have anyone to kind of talk to or meet up with or hang out with. And yeah, you could set things up with people and drive a couple hours away, but it's not like an everyday kind of hangout kind of thing. So these meetings have really been kind of interesting and fun to get to see people face to face and learn more about who they are, their personalities, what they're into beyond the craft. Because all of us have a story and we all have different hobbies and different things we're into. And yeah, I'm just curious to learn more about what makes each carver tick, I guess,
Right.
and hearing their story.
Well, and you said something there that kind of struck a nerve with me. It is solitary to the extent that you're carving by yourself, and oftentimes that's a good thing.
It is. It's a
I
double edged
find that
sword.
it's good therapy for me. I deal with some pretty serious topics at work. And sometimes you feel like that the world is kind of crashing down around you, but you can come down in the basement, grab a block of wood and a knife, and all that's gone. You just forget about all of it because you're focused on what
Yeah.
you're working on. And it's nice to have that escape, I guess, that release where you're not having to deal with everybody else's problems for a little while.
Yeah.
And it's a good escape for me. And these meetings they're great as far as interacting with people that have like interest, like ideas, and those kind of things. But it's also nice just to get by yourself, calm down, quiet down, and work on something. That's the
Yeah.
beauty in carving.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. That's couldn't agree more. It's both, like I said, a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
a
and
lot of
not
us
only
like the
that,
solitude.
yeah, it's nice too that, it's always there for you. So,
Yeah.
for somebody that has a busy life, you got kids, they're going every different direction, you're having to take them places, you got work, and you gotta do all these things. Maybe you don't have time to carve today, but you may have 10 minutes tomorrow. I mean, it's always there for you, and it really does help you kinda quiet down and, block out some of the craziness that's going on in the world. So,
Yeah.
it's there for you when you need it, for sure.
Definitely. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I always carry a block of wood in my pocket, and I have my Flexcut whittling jack 2.0, whatever it is it's called,
Yeah.
on me. Yeah. So you mentioned you've been carving for 20 years, about 20 years. What made you first pick up the knife and get into carving?
So it's an interesting story, and it's kind of twofold. So I'll try not to make this too awful long, but I'll give you the short version of it. Didn't really know what carbon was when I first stumbled upon it. In the area that I live, about an hour and a half from here, is a little theme park called Dollywood. Um, Dollywood's kind of I don't know, it's kind of a country feel, kind of uh, I don't know, just kind of a down home kind of place. And one of the shops that they've got there, they have a carving shop. And so I was there one day walking through, kind of walked in there looking around and stuff, and I thought, man, this is cool. This is something that I really enjoy. And the guy's back there carving. He's making a spirit face, and so I go back there and start talking to him. He's like, "Oh, I can teach you how to do this. You can probably spend 2 days in my shop. I'll teach you how to do this. You'll have 3 pieces done in 2 days if you want to come take the class." And I thought, I doubt you can teach me that, but okay. Um, maybe I'll do that. And so we left, and I thought about it, and I thought, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go back down there, spend a weekend, and just see if I can do that. So signed up, went, took the class, finished 3 pieces, was proud, walking around showing people, and set it down, and never thought another thing about it. Fast forward up to married my wife. My wife became pregnant. She is type 1 diabetic. And when they found out she was pregnant, they said, you're going to have to kind of take it easy, not necessarily on bed rest, but when you go to work, come home, lay on the couch, don't do anything. You don't need extra stress on the baby. And so at that point, I realized I've got to find something to do with my time. I'm not a guy who just kind of sits and watches TV. I watch sports a lot, but don't spend a whole lot of time in front of a TV because I know there's other things I want to do. And so I thought at that point, I thought, I want to maybe try to pick up carving again and see if I can do anything with that. Um, Fast forward 20 years, my daughter was born. We met people on the Wood Carving Illustrated forum online. They invited me to the Charlotte show, come down, check it out, see what you're missing. Made a bunch of friends down there. We've drugged my daughter around 20 years, I guess. She'll be 21 in April, to all the wood carving shows that we can take her to. And that's how I remember when I got started, was the fact that my wife was pregnant with my daughter, who's almost 21. And so that's how long I've been at it. But seriously at it since she became pregnant, and I needed to find a hobby. So um, and then making friends and them encouraging you and you exchanging ideas, and the internet's made it easy because now you can put stuff on Instagram or Facebook and see what everybody else is doing, and kind of talk through stuff and meet people like yourself. I don't know if you and I would ever run into each other without social media and podcasts and things like that. So it's kind of cool to think about how all this stuff kind of comes together and how it all plays into the whole wood carving world. So that's a long way to get to how I got into carving, but that's the way it started.
Oh, that's a really cool story, though.
It's the cool thing, and again, it's like family. We took my daughter up to Pennsylvania, and there's people that haven't seen her in years that came over and talked to her and was like, "Oh, I remember when you were a little bitty, and look how big you are now." And it's fun to, like I said, it's like it's family, and they know what's going on with you and what's going on. They want to know about your kids and all kinds of stuff. So it's again just the best hobby out there.
And that's awesome. Is your daughter interested in carving since she's kind of been brought up in all of it? And
Um, she well, let me say this. She's an artist also.
okay,
Um, she is going to college to be an animator. And
awesome.
so yeah, she's finishing up her 3rd year of animation school at Lipscomb University. And so I've tried to get her to like draw patterns for me and do all these things, and she does it sometimes, but it's not really something she's interested in. But while we were in Pennsylvania, I did a demonstration up there, like I talked about earlier, and she said, "Hey, can I get a glove and a knife and a piece of wood? And can I sit back in the back of the class and kind of try to keep up with you as you're doing your demonstration?" And that's the first time I think
Wow.
I ever remember that she's wanted to carve along and participate. So I think there's interest there, but I don't know if she wants to spend the time doing it yet, but she may in the future.
Okay, that's cool. But at least
Yeah.
there's like a nice artistic streak in the family.
Oh yeah, yeah. She blows me away, and she's always drawn and stuff. And now she's into 2D and 3D animation and coloring backgrounds and doing all the movements. And they're working on a animated series. I can't really talk about it too much, but it's cool to see that her name's going to be in movie credits because she's working on this series. It's actually going to be on TV.
Oh,
So
that's amazing. Good for
yeah,
her.
so it's fun to kind of watch the process, and it kind of keeps me motivated because it's like she's chasing her dreams. Maybe I need to continue, trying to push myself to try to get better, just to see if I can do it. You never get to a point where you're completely satisfied.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever a point where in any craft or hobby that you're done
Yeah,
learning. There's always room to advance and learn more and do more. Um, yeah, I think when you have that mentality of thinking that you become a master or a professional is when you start to decline in
yeah,
your ability. You stall
right.
out.
Yeah,
Um,
it's and being in the caricature carvers of America has really opened my eyes even more. I looked up to these guys uh really for 20 years. You go to these shows and you see the CCA guys there, and kind of their work and stuff. It really makes you push to advance your skills to at least be in the same conversation that these guys are. And it just reminds you again, you never get to a point where you've reached it. You've reached the level. There's always a higher level to strive towards, and it's been a real motivator to me to try to improve and get better and do more. So
yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of those guys work, and it's absolutely incredible. It blows my mind some of the ideas they come up with, the scenes and the scenarios, and
yeah,
it's just really, really cool.
yeah,
Yeah, I would love to be able to see some of those in person and even talk to some of those guys and kind of see what makes their mind tick because there's so many talented and creative carvers out there, and I have no idea how they come up with their ideas. And
right,
I'm a little more black and white. I think of something basic and I just go with it. I
yeah.
don't have that like creative streak where I can just come up with this full blown scenario and just put it out there into a carving.
Well, I
Um,
think I think that's probably part of the learning process because for the longest time, I wanted to carve something that looked like what I wanted it to look like, and it was very straight on and just very stagnant and stale, but I wanted it to look good. And after you get past that point, then you're like, okay, now I want to add some motion because I see these other people that's doing it. And so again, it's one of those things where you get to a certain point and then you want to kind of progress past that point. And I think it's all part of the learning process. But again, it's not something that you ever feel like that you've accomplished everything you can. There's no way. So
yeah, and there's so many different avenues of techniques and styles that you can go down. I mean,
right.
some people are really into the hyper realism type stuff. Some people are into the caricature style stuff. Then you got the people who are into little made up type creatures that they just
Yeah.
little aliens and little blobs of things that are really cool.
Right.
So, and then yeah, it's just different tools that you people use and palm
Yeah.
gouges and knives or it's just endless the amount of possibilities that you can go down for each aspect of the craft. Um, so yeah, I find myself when I'm doing something, I'm kind of just I kind of lean to whatever I'm into at the moment.
Yep.
You know, for a long time, I was really into the wood spirits, and I was doing wood spirits, detailed beards and hats and stuff. And then I broke out of that and I started doing the little gnomes and things like that for a while. But now I really want to kind of get into more of the realistic aspect
Yep.
of things. More so animals. Like I want to do like bears and owls and things like that. Some faces, but that one, yeah, I gotta, that's gonna turn me around a little bit. The eyes and all the
Well, and
expressions.
that's one of the cool things you get when you go to these shows is you go and you see stuff that other people are doing that maybe you don't even do,
Yeah,
but it kind of motivates you and gets your creative juices flowing. And like, I'd really like to know how they're doing that. You take pictures and bring them back and study them and stuff. Um, you talk about animals and birds and stuff. Some of the best birds that I've ever seen was up there in Pennsylvania, and I have no desire to carve a bird, but the realistic, the detail and realism that they get in some of those carvings is amazing.
incredible.
All the way down to the size of the head, the number of feathers that they've gotten in the wings, stuff like that. And these carvers put all that into their pieces that they're using for competition, and it's mind blowing. The guy that won the competition up there got first best in show, won nationals with that same carving, which is
Mm.
the best national wood carver. And it was a little bird that was about this big, but it was so realistic. I mean, you would have sworn that if you touched it, it flew away.
Wow.
And to get that detail in a wood carving, it just blows my mind. It's amazing. But I know it's something that I have no desire to do because I don't have the patience to the point of wanting to know those things or trying to get the
Sure.
details just right. That's the cool part about caricature carving is, you can exaggerate features, you can make make the carvings move in a way that normally a body wouldn't move or whatever, and it works.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be as detailed, but yet you're creative and being able to create something that you love. So it's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah.
And tying it back before when you say when you could watch these guys do demonstrations and stuff, all it really takes is just one little nugget of information of watching them do like a chisel movement that it'll just kind of click in your mind
Yep.
that you didn't think about. And then all of a sudden, seeing that or watching that, even whether it's on YouTube or in person, like will immediately improve your own carvings.
Right.
Sometimes that's all it takes is just a little bit of a different perspective that you're not used to.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I think it's incredible to be able to talk to these guys and see their work in person and really learn from some of the best in the country, if not the world.
Well, and even, I kind of experienced that a little bit back in COVID. Everything was shut down and I was trying to find classes to get involved in and stuff. And that's when I started the international thing. But um, I also became a member of the Wood Carving Academy, and you can kind of learn at your own pace on that website. And there's all these classes that are out there that you can take. But I remember specifically taking one class from Ryan Olson, and I always wondered how to make the arms look right on the side of a body. And all he said was push the chest back,
Hmm.
and that kinda I was like, "Wow." I mean, why did I not realize that?
Yeah,
You have these aha moments and, like, once you realize certain things or once you see somebody do it, it really elevates your skill and pushes you past, the level that you're at. So, I encourage people all the time, take classes, even if they're online, work through videos like Jonathan Creason's videos, push yourself because and that's why I do the meetings also. You may get just a little nugget of information that just really opens your mind.
yeah,
I've got what I would consider master carvers that come on our meetings every week, and master being people that's carved 50 years. And they tell me they still come to these meetings because they always get a little something out of the meeting that they haven't heard before. And for somebody, and I don't think you'll mind me saying, but somebody like Dave Stetson, who started the CCA, who's been around carving probably longer than I've been alive. Um, to hear him say that he's still gathering a little information from our meetings, it makes it all worth it.
Yeah,
Because if
that's
he can gather,
incredible.
yeah, if he can gather information from it, then the brand new carver ought to be mind blown. It ought to, it really should open up a new world for him, and that's what these podcasts and stuff do.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. Um, one thing I really love about your Zoom meetings is because since you mentioned Dave, Dave's words of wisdom
Yeah,
at the start of every meeting, I think that's great.
yeah.
I love hearing it. I look forward to what he has to say and where he gets his information from, and I think it's incredible. And
But and that all started in his classes. Sometimes he'll come on when he's teaching an online class. You spend 3 weekends with him and 2 hours a day and all this time. But when he starts a class, he may come in and be like, "I'm going to read you this little statement to kind of get started." And we're like, well, that would be cool to have on our meetings. It's just like a day's words of wisdom or whatever. And he's on board. Like every week, he comes in early. He's got something prepared. We don't have to ask him, and he's just fired up about carving. And that's the kind of thing that I love about this is that somebody's been doing it as long as he has. If he's still excited about it, there's no reason why I shouldn't be excited about it.
yeah, no,
So,
that's really cool.
the other thing that I was going to say a few minutes ago when we were talking about community, um, this is the only community that I know of, and correct me if I'm wrong, where you can become friends with your heroes. And
I was
so,
gonna just bring that up.
yeah,
It's amazing how you can. I spoke about this with Josh Arroyo too. You see these guys that you idolize or you respect their work so much, and he said it a couple of times because he's actually met some of these people in person, and he said how you can just you're in like an auditorium or something, at one of these shows, and there's your hero that you look up to for a couple of years or however long, and you can just walk right up to them, and they're willing to talk to you, share
yeah,
information, and they're all around great people.
right,
Um, and I've kind of experienced that myself doing these videos and stuff because everyone has just been so nice and so generous with their time and their knowledge, and it's incredible. And I really look forward to some of the future people I haven't interviewed yet,
right,
and getting to meet everybody.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, like you said, you get books and things when you're trying to learn how to carve, and you see these articles that people have produced, and you're like, "Oh man, I really love that." Never get a chance to meet that guy, and the next thing you know, you're at the same show with him, and he's over there talking to you about the article. So, it's it, it's pretty cool to kind of see it kind of go in full circle that you become a fan, you try to learn how to do it. Next thing you know, you're friends with the people that you're fans of, and they're showing you how they do what they do, and it's just a cool thing.
yeah, yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah,
And the wood carving community is just amazing.
right.
You've said it. There's very minimal negativity in the wood carving world,
Yeah,
if not any at
right.
that point. But yeah, so you mentioned starting the International Association of Woodcarvers during COVID.
Yep.
Was that just a way to kind of unite all the carvers? I mean, I know it was a hectic time, and
Yeah,
was it
it's
some did you kind of know it was going to last 6 or 7 years at this point? In which,
no. Um, that's kind of interesting story too, and I talked about it. I think on a podcast with Alec Lacoste, but it's kind of a funny story. Just like you and I've never met, the guy that helped me start the International Association of Woodcarvers, his name's Tom Bate, and Tom's from Canada, and Tom and I still to this day haven't met in person. We started talking on Instagram, trying to figure out, can we start a podcast? What can we do to try to generate some interest around carving? This was before COVID hit. Um, when COVID hit, he and I kind of again continued to talk back and forth, and I said, "Hey, why don't we start having some meetings on Zoom and just record them and put them out on YouTube as a way of people getting together. While we can't get together, socially during COVID, and let's see where that goes. So we got a Zoom subscription that was actually borrowed from a friend of mine who's also a carver. He's like, "Yeah, use my Zoom subscription, see where this goes." I reached out to a few carving friends that I had, and I said, "Hey, will you all come on and let's see if we can generate a crowd?" Um, and it took off from there. We tried to make it consistent, do it every week, so that people have something to kind of get together and talk about. Didn't know how long COVID was going to last. The plan was originally, once COVID is over, we're stopping the meetings. There's really
Hmm.
no reason for meetings because now you can get back together. You can go to your club, you can go to your shows, you can do all these things. And so I'll just do it for a little while, and once everything opens back up, then we'll go back to doing what we were doing. Well, as you probably are already realizing, once you start something like that, people start looking for it and they start um, showing an interest and wanting to know, what's coming up next, who you got on, what are you going to be showing us, and so they kind of get used to the schedule.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what's happened with this is that the more people say, "Hey, I love this. I want you all to continue to do this," the more it kind of motivates you to do it. So we're coming up on 6 years. Tom Bate was with me about a year, year and a half. My friend Dave Levy is now my right hand. He does all the editing of the videos after we record them. He and I send files back and forth. I do the thumbnails and put them out on YouTube, and it just works. But at some point, I feel like that I'll probably have to phase it out a little bit. You tie up every Saturday plus time during the week and stuff. And my family's been great as far as, not letting it bother them that I'm tied up every Saturday afternoon or realizing that I'm doing these kind of things at night or whatever. They know how much I love it. They tour with me or tour. They go to all these shows and
Hmm.
things with me. I feel like it's a tour sometimes.
Yeah.
And they're very supportive. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. So it's just been a good thing, and we've got, and this is, I guess, for the audience, we've got 250 videos out on YouTube. We've been fortunate enough to have 1.5 million views in 6 years.
That's
Um,
amazing.
yeah, so it's been very beneficial, and again, every time I go to a show and somebody comes up and says they love it and they watch it and it's, so great to say hello or whatever, it just encourages me to continue on. So, um, it's a labor of love, like I said in the beginning.
That's amazing. And it's definitely well appreciated in the community. I mean, there hasn't been a conversation I've had in the woodworking world where your name or the association's name has been mentioned. I mean, it's constantly being brought up. Your videos that you put out, whether it's your sharpening video or a really popular one is the I believe it's the Santa
Yeah.
tutorial of yours. I
Yeah.
mean, the amount of people that have told me how that specific tutorial, oh yeah, there you go.
People probably can't hear that, but there you go.
They could see it. Yeah.
Right.
The amount of people that said how just watching that video and the other videos of, all these renowned carvers, showing things has helped them. And it's incredible. And I'm extremely thankful for all the work you've put in doing it. And I'm sure everyone else is that has seen
Well,
it as well. I know it's not easy.
yeah, I appreciate that. I think for us and the reason we've had success and the number of views and all that stuff is probably just because we got in early. And I think if you talk to Doug Linker, which is a good friend of mine as well, he's got tons of videos out there, but he started back way before people really got wood carving out there on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so we were kind of some of the early pioneers, I guess. And so you're able to build a little easier following when there's not as much content available for people to
Yeah.
watch. Now that there's a bunch of carbon videos out there, people aren't getting the views because there's so many options for people to look at. But it's, again, I think I do it the same reason Doug does it. We love it. We want to share carving. We enjoy it. So it's a process that we kind of enjoy. The personal videos that I did through just Lunsford carvings, I enjoyed doing those, but I had to kind of decide, do I want to do meetings or do I want to do my own videos? At some point, I may go back to those if I end up phasing out the international thing, and do some teaching and stuff. I do teach live, so I go to Utah and I'll be down in Lebanon, Tennessee, teaching this year, and out at the barn in North Carolina. So still doing a lot of teaching and stuff. But at some point, I may go back and do some videos and maybe try to get on Wood Carving Academy and stuff. There's just a lot of options out there to try to share it, and so that's the plan.
Yeah. And I think doing those kinds of videos, that those tutorial type videos, talk about time consuming. I mean, I Doug is an absolute legend
Yeah.
in the wood carving world. I mean, it's undeniable. He's responsible for
Oh yeah.
thousands of carvers,
Yep.
inspirational. But the amount of effort he must put into those videos behind the scenes has to be tremendous
Sure.
because, he'll do a tutorial about a gnome. And in that video, there'll be like 10 gnomes that he's carved just to prepare for the video.
Right.
And he's, trial and error, and he's finding ways to make it teachable and record it and paint it and all these things. I mean, it's just incredible. And I can't imagine. I've done a couple of like wood carving videos where I'm not explaining anything. They're just the fast paced, you know, speed through videos.
Right.
And they were a pain in the ass to carve and to film and edit and record, all of that. It was
Right.
just a nightmare. Um, I'm finding doing this is a lot easier.
Yeah.
It still has its challenges and its hurdles to jump, but um, it's much more manageable, I think, at least for me. Maybe not for some others, but
Well, one of the
uh,
big learning curves that I found was just the editing of the videos. At some point, you've got to go in and you've got to take out stuff and you've got to kind of tie stuff together and make sure it flows and add music in the background and do all these different things. And that's a learning process in itself. And so, some people just come on and they cut on their camera and they start carving and talk through it. But if you're making a video like Doug's doing, Doug's taking, I don't know how many different clips, tying all those together, using multiple cameras. He may use a drone or something like that.
yeah.
And just the editing software alone is a learning curve that you got to learn. Therefore, you're not carving if you're working on editing. And it's really finding time to do it all. And I think uh, people don't realize the dedication that he's had in the past to try to be able to produce these things at very little, return. He gets a little money off of AdSense, but outside of that, I don't think there's really much return for him outside of just like I told you, the love of carving. Um,
Mhm.
he wants to share carving and enjoys the community as much as I do, and I won't speak for him, but I know that's the reason why he does what he does.
Yeah. I mean, he's amazing. I would absolutely love to sit down with him and
Yeah, great
talk to
dude.
him.
Yeah,
I mean,
and he's
he's been a huge inspiration to me too. I mean, as well as I'm sure everyone else in the carving
right.
world, you know, it's not isolated, but yeah,
He's
no,
the
he's
same in person as he is on his videos. Just a super great guy.
oh, that's awesome to
Yeah,
hear.
yeah,
Yeah, because I think that's one of the main reasons why his videos are so attractive is because not only does he explain things extremely well and simple, but he has that calming Bob Ross effect.
yeah,
That is very wholesome and happy, like just to be sitting there whittling and carving away. And
right.
yeah, yeah,
He
no,
uh he
that's amazing.
he's serious about it though, and he pushes himself to advance too. And
He
uh,
does.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the cool thing is just because he's doing a one by series on small little guys, the next thing you know, he's got this big, huge, you know, piece of wood that he's found out at the lake or whatever that he's carved a
Yeah.
wood spirit in. That's amazing. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's just it shows the dedication that he has to carving. And Same for him, and I respect him 100% for doing this. Is those videos happen as he allows time for them to happen. If he's got other things going on in his life, videos take a back burner, and that's the thing I tell everybody is family first. Take time for yourself. Carving will always be there for you,
Yeah.
and it's cool that he can kind of step away from that. But again, when he's ready to get back into it, and you can watch the views on YouTube, people are right there waiting on his video. So
I
it's
mean,
kind of
he just put one out the other day, and then I
yeah,
got that notification, and boom, right to
it's
it.
yeah, it's a
I
cool
mean,
thing for sure.
he could take off as long as he wants. I mean, his catalog on YouTube is
Yeah,
tremendous. I
right.
mean, you could for days you could be sitting there watching his stuff
Yeah,
and always learn something new. And like you said,
right.
he does all the different styles, and now he's really into the flat plane Scandinavian style, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my next goal is to try to talk him into coming to Wisconsin to the show in September so I can meet him in person.
Oh, that'd be cool. I know he's up in Canada somewhere, so
He is, yeah. So we've been talking back and forth about trying to get together, but we got to find the right time to do it.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was talking to Jonathan Creason, and he was mentioning because he does the YouTube videos as well, and he said how he had to get to a turning point in his YouTube um, series. Is he a wood carver who does YouTube videos, or is he a YouTube carver? Because it's so hard to juggle both and
Sure.
find your specific niche, I guess.
Yeah.
And I know there's a few other guys. I know Johnny does it, and there's plethora of other YouTube.
Yeah, and that's what I realized with doing these meetings is I could either do my own videos or do these meeting videos, and the variety. And I'm just like Dave Stetson. I learned so much from people that come on and do demonstrations. It's just, or I'm fascinated with what they do. Like Pedro that I had on this past weekend. He's in
Oh, he was
Australia, which
great.
yeah, it makes it truly international. We've had people all over the world come on, but it's cool to hear him talk through what short amount of time that he's been carving in and to see the work that he's producing, like the crucifix that he did of Jesus. The detail in that thing, that's you don't capture something like that and just carve a year or 2 years without having some natural ability. And so
Hmm.
that dude, I mean, he's the real deal, and it's always fun for me to see somebody come on and do something completely different and something completely new, and for them to tell you, "Oh, I've only been doing this just a year or 2 years or whatever." Um,
Yeah,
it's pretty neat to kind of watch it, but people come on these things that from every skill level, and again, you can always gain something from every person that comes on. So
of course. Yeah, and I feel like sometimes, watching the tutorial videos are great because you learn visually and hands on, but I think there's a lot to be learned through these meetings as well, just kind of
yeah,
hearing people's process because, a lot of people see the immediate finished piece online or they see them carving it in 20 minutes or an hour, however long it takes. But, we mentioned before, they're not seeing the years of dedication that was applied to it. They're not
right,
seeing the stitches in their hand and the failed pieces and all the heartache and headaches and everything that came along with it.
right,
Because that is a big part of anything, hobby wise. But
yeah,
the failures, and I think just talking to these carvers like yourself, we can gain some insight to how to advance our own skill, how you advanced in your skill, how things progress naturally. And I think it's just equally as valuable information, just kind of hearing these stories.
yeah. I agree 100%. Um, you learn by other people's mistakes sometimes, and sometimes you learn by their experiences. And carving's no different. You know, um, if I came on and just showed you a finished piece and said you can do this here in a few minutes, um, people are going to be disappointed when they pick up a block of wood and realize they can't do it. But if they hear the struggle and hear the process and hear how long they've been at it and know that it's like learning any other skill, and they're willing to dedicate the time, they'll get better. And I've helped people along who said they never could do it, and now they're impressed and surprised at the stuff that they're producing. And it's rewarding to me to see when you encourage somebody and they really stick with it, what they're able to do, as they progress. So it's a neat thing.
Yeah. And it is an incredibly rewarding hobby. I mean, you get what you put into it, like
Yeah.
anything else in life, I guess, but you can really see the progression in how your skill level advances. Cody talked about it where holding on to your first few pieces and keep carving and see where you are a year or two later and look back at that first carving you did. I mean, I think all of us have our first carving
Oh yeah.
lying around.
Yeah.
Um, and it's always amazing to see the progression because you may not see it right away, from day to day or week to week, but you compare those two carvings, the new one versus your first one, you'll see tremendous amount of skill involved.
Yeah, I did a demonstration on one of our meetings. I've only demonstrated one time in the 6 years that we've done it, but I wanted to do one of these Santa ornaments. But part of the process in the very beginning of the video, I brought out one of the early carvings that I did and then showed what I was going to do that day. And the difference was like night and day. I mean,
Hmm.
it's so, and I've got up there on the top shelf, I did an article for Wood Carving Illustrated not long after I started carving, and to compare that to what I'm doing today is just night and day. But it's nice to have those pieces so you can go back and look at them and be like, okay, I remember when I was there, and I know what it took for me to get to where I am. And then you look at other people's work and be like, okay, I want to do that next. So that's what motivates you is, surround yourself with carvings that are from people that you love and stuff that you love to look at, so that you can be motivated to try to progress and get better.
Yeah. And I've definitely doing these meetings, I found a newfound love for the craft because I'm getting to talk to these amazing carvers, with all different skill levels and different types of styles and everything. And I'm seeing their work and I'm talking to them and seeing how their mind ticks. And it's just sparking like a new found passion for the craft. Not that I
Right.
ever lost it, but it's giving me a lot more hype around it. And
Yeah.
it's making me want to go out. I mean, I'm looking at this little Sasquatch that Noah sent me, which was very nice. Thank you, Noah. Um, and I'm just looking at it, and I'm seeing like how he got the fur details and the textures and on him, and the little fish and everything, and it's just so cool. It's giving me some ideas of things I want to try, and
Well, and
um,
I think Jonathan touched on that in his meeting when I was listening to it, and it kind of struck a nerve with me. You can go to Instagram now and pick out any carver that you enjoy looking at their work, and pick a piece that you like and zoom in on it and
blow it up.
look at the cuts. Try to figure out what gouge did they use, what knife did they use, what's the paint technique that they've done to try to give it that depth and three-dimensional look. And it really helps you think about the process instead of just looking at a piece and be like, I don't think I could ever do that. If you
Yeah,
study it, you can tell where a triangle chip's been taken out, or they've used a gouge to do a mustache or something like that. And it really helps you kind of do that trial and error thing to try to advance. Try to figure out what tools that you have that's going to allow you to progress past where you are now. And that doesn't mean you need a ton of tools, but try to use whatever tools you've got to help you progress in what you're wanting to do. It doesn't take more than a handful of tools to complete a full carving. Some people do it with just a knife. So,
yeah,
yeah, use what you've got, but study other people's work so that you can try to figure out how they got from A to Z, and put that to work when you're working on your own piece.
yeah, absolutely. And that's where internet and Instagram and YouTube is a great resource. You can actually pause a video or zoom these pictures or screenshot it, and you have the reference points.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think a lot of new. I see it in the in Reddit and the Facebook groups and stuff where new carvers will get hung up on what tools to
Yeah.
buy. And yeah, the tools are great. I mean, when you can afford them and buy them and splurge and stuff, they're not 100% necessary. You can get by with a regular detail knife or a pocket knife that some people use. I mean, I've seen people do incredible things with box cutter,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think if I had a little bit of advice for a beginner is just choose a good sharp knife and practice with it.
Oh yeah.
Don't worry about the gouges or the V's or this or that. Just get used to that one particular tool and get comfortable with reading the grain and how the wood behaves and what happens when you make this type of cut or if you go across the grain or the end grain or whatever and learn how to sharpen the tool. Can't
That's
say
the
that
key.
enough. But
That is
yeah,
the key right there, my friend, is if don't have a sharp tool, you'll get frustrated more than you'll be happy with what you're producing, for sure.
I I think it was I'm definitely gonna butcher the quote, but I believe it was Abraham Lincoln. He said, "If I had 7 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend 6 hours sharpening the axe."
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So sharp. Make sure your knives are sharp.
And again, the cool thing is the internet has all of that information out there.
Yeah.
So I'm not sitting in my basement with a stone going, I don't know how to sharpen this. I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh,
I'm
you got
looking
YouTube pulled up.
Yeah, I'm looking at YouTube. I might be looking at 3 or 4 videos. Do I use sandpaper? Do I use a stone? We've got everything at our fingertips, and if you wanna do it, you can do it. You just
Yeah.
gotta go out and find the resources. Just like I told, Pedro the other day on our meeting, you can tell the people that use resources to advance their skills. You know,
Mhm.
when he was doing that life-size crucifix, he said he studied for a whole year on how bone structure is and muscles and all these different things. You can't just sit down and carve something like that from what you have in your brain. I don't
Yeah.
think there's any way unless you've been doing it for 50 years. But you use the resources you got available and you'll be surprised how quickly your skills advance.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, even these guys who have been doing it for 40, 50 years, or these really high end, like Alec Lacasse, he's known for doing realistic faces. Anytime you see a behind the shots uh picture of him working on his pieces,
Yep.
he's got 20, 30 reference photos
He
behind it.
does. That's right.
And you need it. You need to have those references. There's no harm in having the references or the
Yeah.
videos or anything. It's a
Well,
great
and
resource.
I'm a big fan, but again, because I carve character, I'm a big fan of Pinterest. And I don't know if you use
Mhm.
Pinterest much or not, but there's a
Occasionally.
world of pictures out there and resources on Pinterest
Yeah.
that's not utilized enough. I'm doing a cowboy and I'm working on a little cowboy head. And I
Oh,
don't know if
cool.
you can see that, but
Yeah.
I go out on Pinterest and I look for wood carved cowboys because I want to have a cigarette sticking out of his mouth, or I want to figure out how to give him the 5 o'clock shadow or whatever. And I'll go out there still today and just kind of look around and see what somebody else has done and try to apply some of that to what I'm doing on the carving I'm working on. So
Yeah.
utilize those resources, and you'll be surprised how many doors it opens for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I've used Pinterest a few times for some ideas. Most not with carving. Well, not a particular carving photo, but I've seen digital art drawings of things that I'm like, oh, that would be a really cool carving.
Right?
And because it's that 2D type of image, it's easy to kind of implement it into the block of wood.
Sure.
You have that nice pattern to copy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you can go out and look for like realistic faces that you may want somebody that has wrinkles and a beard or whatever, and just put that in, and you'll have 10 pictures of somebody that looks like that, and that's a reference photo that you can go by, and that's again, use what you've got for sure
Yeah.
instead of just trying to
And
think about it and come up with it out of your mind's eye.
yeah.
It's nice to
And
have those reference photos.
and chances are, yeah, on YouTube, there's gonna be somebody who's excels in whatever medium or style you wanna, you know, emulate.
Yeah.
So there's definitely got a lot of good reference videos there as well.
Right. Well, and same thing for painting. You know, there's a carving doesn't really come to life until you add color to it. I feel like, especially caricature, and
Mhm.
that's a whole other skill in itself. And so it's not enough just to learn how to carve. You also have to learn how to paint or get somebody to paint for you. And the resources that are available just for painting, and it may not be painting for wood carving. It may be painting for something else, but you can pick up little bits and pieces that you can
Yeah.
apply to what you're doing and come up with your own style. And that's that's what's cool about it.
Yeah, and I've mentioned this plenty of times before. I hate painting. It's not my favorite. I do it because it's a necessary evil for the craft, um, but believe it or not, I learned better techniques from not watching wood carver painting videos.
Yeah,
I actually learned a great deal amount from a YouTube channel called Ace of Clay,
yeah, absolutely.
um, and he just builds polymer clay models, and he has a great way of explaining how to paint. That's really easy
Right.
to follow. So I learned a lot just based on watching those.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Again, there's tons of resources out there. People just have to go out and find them. And
yeah,
and the cool thing about carving is ask somebody if you don't know and you want to find out. Hey, Michael, what do you do? You know, that's all it takes usually. And all of a sudden, you're having a conversation about what's going to be best and what I can do in this situation and stuff. And
yeah,
again, it goes back to what we said in the beginning. Carvers don't really have anything to hide, so it's just like we're
no.
open books.
And then
Um,
that's how you become lifelong friends with
that's it.
somebody.
That's it.
Asking them
That's right.
how they paint.
That's all you gotta do, and with the internet, there's really no reason why people can't have these conversations all the time, so
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
yeah. I definitely have some round the clock conversations going with carvers
Yeah.
for years at this point.
Oh, yeah.
It's just
Yeah, with instant messaging and stuff, yeah, you can just carry on conversations, and
yeah,
as you have time, you refer back to them and, pick back up where you left off and that kinda thing. It's kinda like writing a letter back in the old days. You had to sit and wait on somebody to respond. Now you can just it's instant, so,
yeah. You
uh,
send a picture. Hey, how does this look? You
yeah.
got any ideas? And yeah, do try it this way. And
Right. So
yeah,
it's a lot better world for the carver today than it was, say, 20 years ago when I started.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Oh, that's really cool.
What
Yeah,
about now I'm gonna go into the interviewee instead of
interview
interview.
mode.
Yeah. So what
Sure.
about you? What is your um what is the thing you like to carve and what are you working on right now?
So I'm a little bit across the board with carving. Like I mentioned, I stick to a lot of the like whimsical theme things. Like I like the gnomes and the pumpkins and ghosts, and
Right.
I like the wood spirits.
I heard you
Right
talk
now,
about Tony's carvings, the guy that does the
yeah,
pumpkins. He's probably one of my favorite carvers out there.
yeah, I have taken a tremendous amount of inspiration from Tony's carvings. And I've carved my own series of pumpkins with different. Last year, I did a whole series of different themed pumpkins. So for every major holiday, I did a themed pumpkin. So for Easter, there was pumpkins with bunny ears, and for Valentine's, they had heart eyes. I did St. Patrick's one with the hat and the buckle, and you know, Halloween is obvious, very easy, and the Santa hat pumpkins. So I just kind of went with that motion. Yeah.
Um,
So he's been a big inspiration. I mean, I kind of take inspiration from many different people. Like now I got a little bit more into the caricature style carving, so I'm trying my hand at that. Um, but like I mentioned, I want to get into the animal aspect of it. So I'm a big fan of Jonas Olson
oh yeah.
and BM Sculpture, Blake and Jonas.
Yep.
Um, they both do things that I really want to try, and their videos are inspiring. So yeah, I would like to try my hand at that. Maybe not as large scale as they do, but smaller version.
Nice.
But I like the whimsical aspect of things. I like things that kind of have a story behind them.
And do you post most of your stuff out on Instagram, or where do you
Yeah.
usually put stuff?
So predominantly Instagram, um, which kind of feeds to my Facebook, which I'm never active on.
Right.
But yeah, Instagram is the main go-to, and Reddit. I'm pretty big on Reddit. I'll post there as often as I can.
So is there a big audience there or a big community on Reddit? That's one of the areas that I haven't really explored much, but I may. Um,
There's a really good community on Reddit. There's the wood carving subreddit, and then there's the whittling subreddit. Those are the two main ones. Um, they have a good following. I've noticed a lot more beginners on them, not so much the experienced carvers, but you know, there's some crossover. You see some of the big main guys on all the different platforms.
right.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
All right.
no, Reddit's a pretty good community.
Yeah. I'll have to check it
Yeah.
out. I've heard people talk about it. I think I've even been on there a time or two. But it's the whole learning curve and trying to figure out, okay, where do I go? How do I search out what I'm trying to find? That kind of thing. And
Yeah.
just I haven't taken the time to do it because again, I use Instagram mostly to post pictures, and now there's TikTok, and there's so many different
Yeah.
places that you can go to try to put content out there. And to what extent do you want to spend time doing that as compared to carving or doing something else?
It's a full-time job.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta really put a lot of effort into bouncing around.
Oh yeah.
So I give some of these guys who are in all three or all four of these aspects a lot of credit.
Yeah.
But each individual route you go, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, or TikTok, there's some they're their own communities in each one, and not all of them cross over into the others.
Gotcha.
So you'll see some names that are only pop up in Reddit that you
Yeah.
won't see anywhere else, and same for Facebook and Instagram and TikTok.
Right.
So it is interesting. Blake, where can everyone find your work if they want to find you?
So to find me, you can find me a few different places. On Instagram and Facebook. Well, Facebook, it's my name, just Blake Lunsford. Instagram, it's Lunsford Carvings. I think TikTok's the same thing, Lunsford Carvings. Um, you can find my YouTube channel under my name. I think it's just Blake Lunsford, or Lunsford Carvings as well. Again, there's only a handful of videos out there that I've done that are, specific to me. But then also the International Association of Woodcarvers. Again, we've got a pretty robust page there on YouTube, about 250 videos, and every different genre of carving. Like we were just talking about golf balls. We have people that carve with chainsaws and caricature and realistic and all those kind of things. So check out International Association of Woodcarvers on YouTube. We're also on Instagram. We're on Facebook. Um, and those are really the two big places that you can find us. So YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. But there's all kinds of carving content out there and from all different kinds of carvings that people have done. So a lot of demonstrations, a lot of live stuff. Actually, all of our videos are recorded live. So for the most part, it's an hour of just talking like we're doing, and somebody might be in the back carving or something. So check those out if you get a chance.
Yeah, definitely. It's a really great resource. I encourage all of you to go out there and check out Blake's carvings as well as the International Association of Woodcarvers. Ton of great stuff out there. And Blake, I just really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show and share your experience. This was a really great conversation. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to check out Blake's work and everything he's doing with the International Association of Woodcarvers so you can follow along and get involved. And as always, if you've enjoyed this podcast, be sure to follow, leave a review, and share it with someone who's into wood carving. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.